we have actually gameplay, right?
And we can just show you like how the start of one scene is. So the game plays out from 1830 until 1930. So the big push of the push into the west of America, and you kind of industrialize the whole of America with your trains. And you can choose like your starting city. You can choose if you want how much money you want in the beginning, stuff like that. Make it a little bit harder if you have any opponents working against you, and also you can decide if you have a very complex rail system or a rather easy one. So for players that want to jump into the game quickly and don't want to think about signals or something like that.
Switches and makes sense.
Yeah, and then you choose a character. So actually we did like different characters with their own traits. I think this is something that is new in this genre.
Wow, you're so animated.
Yeah, I mean we wanted to build a like lighthearted style to that, so that new players would find something interesting in this.
What's her name?
Yeah, she's a trickster. She's a trickster, so she gets like a better percentage in auctions and stuff like that. So she knows her way around the West.
She always carry a saddle around with her?
Yeah, of course she does.
What are the animals
I like that.
So, I mean, let's choose the trickster, actually. And actually, if you play against AI, then these ones will actually play out the way their characters are. So the gangster boss will use much more sabotage against you, and the researcher guy will use much more research against you.
So there's a game style like tied to the character.
Basically. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so now we see the game world here. It's a huge game world. Each map, each scenario is kind of like 20 cities. It's over like 50 farms and mines and stuff like that you can practically zoom everywhere down to the very street level of the city. If you go down
to like
that,
Google Maps.
You can see kind of like that. Kind of like that. You can see like the city and how the horse carts go around. And by time when the city grows, if you bring more wares into it and do well in the city, it will grow dynamically. And actually, when we place our first train station here, the city grows around it.
Nice.
Okay, that's
it grows dynamically around this, and you place this. And of course, you want to bring the big cities, for example, now here Sacramento and San Francisco, into contact with each other. So you can bring passengers back and forth. You can bring post back and forth, and of course wares like meat, for example. Yeah, supplies. And the better you do that, you make more profit, and that's the style of the game. But of course, something like this is also about building the perfect railway, like the perfect tracks with as much efficiency as possible. So we build a cool system that you can build all the tracks, and then you can actually drive on these tracks. Well, so you can jump onto the locomotive and drive along with that. I think now, like Daniel has built the first setup, you can see that Sacramento and San Francisco are now connected, and it was pretty easy. So getting into the game is pretty easy, but then mastering it will be hard. So, for example, if you want to connect now Bodie with the other cities, he will need to go through a mountain, and he can connect this with this train station. But there's a problem because it is too steep, or the mountain makes it too expensive or stuff like that. So he can actually move around the different parts of the track and optimize it for his needs. Okay. You also need to listen to or think about that which locomotives you have to your expense. I mean, some locomotives are better going uphill. Some locomotives are better if the tracks are not that steep, because they are very fast then.
How many locomotives do we have?
We have over 40 locomotives, and they're actually completely historically accurate. So we took the actual blueprints from back in the days and
that's so cool.
Yeah, and styled the locomotives around that.
I actually have a question about that, because I can see you're extremely inspired by, you know, the 1800s and the historical. Did you guys put historical facts into your game?
Yeah. So when you play the campaign, which has I think 7 big mission scenarios after each other, you will you will meet like historical characters like Vanderbilt, the big tycoons of the time, and they will be your mentors, let's say, and they will be your mentors or they will be your adversaries, like saying like, ah, you can't, you little like, you can't do anything against me.
So
and blah, blah.
you will get a nemesis, basically.
Yeah, you'll get a nemesis, but you'll also get a mentor, so those two vie over control over you and stuff like that. So yeah, we go through the whole history of the exploration of the West using the locomotives.
So in this case, I saw that was a freies Spiel, right? That means quick play.
Yeah, there's quick play. Yeah, there's a campaign. There's quick play that you can just sandbox play.
Yeah.
But there's also scenarios where we give you like random objects bit by bit. And there's also like a model train mode, as we call it, so where you don't need to think about all the mission objectives or economics or something like that. You can just build your railway however you want and then drive on the rails and everything.
So basically like just a tool to have fun.
Yeah, a tool to have fun. Yeah, I mean, you can do everything in this game however you want it. Like, you can play this as a complete Excel sheet if you want. So there are like, well, you know it from back in the day.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
if you play this for a long time, and Daniel now jumped into a very late game, save game, then you can go into all the numbers, like optimize every little thing, every nook and cranny. You can buy up your opponent's shares and then bit by bit take over all of their track system, for example, which kind of is the ultimate goal in it.
So that's the aggressive takeover.
Yeah, it's aggressive takeover, yeah.
Okay. I'm guessing there's like an upkeep of every single track that you have,
yes,
right?
Absolutely. I mean, if you jump into one of the trains and have the details on that, check on the details on that, then you can see like there's efficiency, there's like how much it did on it costs on fuel, how much it costs on personnel and stuff like that. If you look at the personnel, actually there's 4 people that you can put on a train, and all of them have different traits, and some of them are better with each other than others. So if somebody is very light-hearted but the other one is very grumpy, then those two don't really work together, so they get
it's getting complicated.
Yeah, well, you don't need personnel on each train. You can have a train drive just with normal personnel, but bit by bit you will get better offers of personnel, and the more late game it gets, the more complicated it gets, and then you can actually see that it gets more complicated, but it also gets more efficient if you work it correctly. Yeah, so that you can actually do on each train. But you also have like an office where you have like your accountant and stuff like that, and these also have these traits working together better or worse. So yeah, and then of course you have stuff like sabotage, spying, and research. Yeah, we didn't talk about research so far. If you jump into the tech tree, we have two big tech trees with over 300 technologies that you can unlock. And actually, if you look into the locomotive tech tree, the other one, you see that the big researches are the new locomotives that you unlock. Of course, that's what every player wants.
And new parts for them, basically.
Yeah. But you can actually see that to unlock a new locomotive, you need to have some prerequisite technologies, like new brakes and stuff like that. Right. And with this, we kind of make sure that a new locomotive is unlocked kind of at the time when it was historically invented anyway. You can be a little bit faster, a little bit slower, but kind of at the time when it was historically accurate anyway, so that is how we make sure of that.
Okay, well that looks really impressive. Actually, it's so much changed since the 1995.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's much more accessible than I think than the games at the time. But we make sure that you still get whatever you wanted from such a game. Like
it looks like you have a lot of depth in the game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're giving out the tool to just have fun without really thinking about it, right? So a child can play the game who never played a game like that, just have fun, learn the basics. Or a full grown-up can just go there and be an accountant for the company, right?
That's absolutely our take on that. I mean, we want new players into the genre, players that maybe didn't play the games back in the day. Especially on consoles.
Definitely.
But we also want to, the guys that want to play this hardcore, be possible to play it like that.
Another question. Obviously, it's for a single person, but what about multiple people? Can we play with multiple players?
At the moment, we're not planning with the multiplayer mode. First of all, we want to get the mechanics right, and then maybe like in a later game or an update or something like that, then we can think about it. But first of all, we want to get the single player right.
I have a question. I noticed how beautiful and immersive the world is and the environment. Is there going to be any like environmental changes that could affect how you would build and how you would actually create your layout?
Yeah, I mean,
because I think California, I think like Earth. I live in California. I'm like, I don't think I want to live near the ocean and build by the ocean. I mean, I don't know. A lot of thought goes into building things. So.
Well, of course it changes because you have a lot of tracks there, and you see that there's like a lot of like bridges and stuff like that. But you also have influence on the world because the cities grow by how much you actually provide them. They grow dynamically, and you see. I mean, this looks completely different from the world that we left behind when we started the first game. So San Francisco has grown a lot. But then again, there's also like changes, like there can be storms and stuff like that.
That would delay things for you.
Yeah, it will delay things.
You got a time crunch.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
There might be like robbers attacking or something like that. We have all like.
We got cowboys out there.
Bandits.
Some bandits.
There are bandits, really? That are, attacking your trains?
Yeah, there's buffalo herds, there's eagles and stuff like that. And actually, if you look at the world in the very beginning, you will see that the wares are actually transported with carts, and you can see them walking over the surface. So you think, okay, there's a cart going. Actually, maybe if I build a railway station there, it will profit. So you don't even have to look at the numbers in the cities or something like that, but you can actually see it on the world itself.
So it's well represented. I have some last questions. What's the date of the release?
So Warrior Empire will release on PC, Linux, Xbox One and PS4 beginning of 2018.
Okay, looking forward to that. Yes, thank you very much for coming.